like I say, it's difficult with this particular thing because we have, and I'll use the word privilege because that's the best word we've got right now. We have, as cis white men, able to speak English, able to have a certain level of economic power, and a certain level of opportunities that we've been able to take up.
We go through borders pretty easily. We go through borders much easier than a Colombian, for example.
Absolutely. And so we've had this massive opportunity, and that doesn't take away the fact that we've worked our to ourselves and the best of our ability and taken, tried to be as positive in our community as we have. But there are lots of people who haven't had those opportunities, and I think one of the responsibilities we have is to try and find ways to support people, to give them the ability to have their own voice, so maybe sometimes I should shut up and let somebody else talk.
I have this, how to put it, this insecurity as well, because I had it a lot at the beginning of Big Karma. I was like, yeah, but I'm making a game to represent disability, and I'm talking about disability representation. I am not disabled people could argue that I am, but officially I have not been diagnosed. And obviously it's through my daughter, and we have athletes with disability involved in the process. We're making it with them, not just for them. But every now and then I feel the same, and I gotta tell you that when it gets, nowadays it's pitches to investors and stuff like that. But when the day comes to actually in production of the game and motion capture, we're not talking publicly a lot. When we do promote the game and when we want to sell our message, it's really important to us that the athletes who are involved making the game are the ones who are going to give the interviews and talk about it. Because I think it's immensely important that it's good to be an ally, but I don't want to be stealing the spotlight, if I may be candid here.
Well, we want to normalize the conversation. That's the key word for me. And you can't normalize the conversation if we're, as much as we like the limelight, it's not always our story to tell.
But somebody reinforced me a little bit in that and told me, yes, you're right, but if you giving the spotlight to the right people in the right moment, then your allyship and you taking the reins is still very important, because you are privileged, because you are in the room, because they listen to you. And so if people like you do not speak up, then our voice don't get heard. So speak for us and then let us speak, but do not, if other people struggle with that stuff out there, do your best and don't feel guilty about everything you do either.
No, exactly. I think it's that we do have an immense amount of guilt, and I don't want to speak for somebody else, but I can say that I'm an ally, and I can say that I want to do what I can, and I can amplify the voices, and I try to amplify the voices where I can. Yeah. But I mean, obviously, that's why I like what you guys are trying to do. I think that's really, that's why it's exciting to see you, leading with a different style and approach, and trying to, bring people with physical disabilities into the game development process, as well as the concept and the background, to basically build that around sports.
And, even in the music now, even the music, we are teaming up with artists with disabilities who have incredible talent, and they've just been overlooked. Because that's what I really want to emphasize. We're not creating anything or giving anybody a pedestal. We're just acknowledging
it's an interesting story,
their merits, what was already incredible and what should have been on TV and in video games before. We were just... It's just that taboo about disability that we tend to look at it from a condescending point and with pity. And if you remove that pity lens, you suddenly see the truth for what it is.
Exactly, because we're not talking
about achievements.
But we're not talking about singling out somebody because of a disability. What we're talking about is somebody who's got an interesting story about them or an interesting experience
and is outstanding. Right.
And it's an interesting story, regardless. They happen to have a disability, and that is part of that story, and we're not hiding from that. But the fact is, there are so many people out there with interesting stories, and there's lots of different reasons for that story to be covered and discussed, and to have the story be interesting as the heart of it. I think that's really the key to it for me.